Hello guys, in this video I will explain you about my recent project which I created on live sessions, that is campus recruitment prediction. This is a regression problem. Uh, this is a computation on Kaggle. So how I converted this computation into an end-to-end project and created a Flask app. Let's discuss. So first, I downloaded this train.csv file from uh, from this website, and after that, save this in my you can say repository directory. Then let's discuss what step we have to perform. First, we have to import our CSV file. Then we have to do data cleaning. For data cleaning, first we check is there any null values. If there is any null values, we will try to handle those null values, and then we will check about if there is any duplicate value. If there is any duplicate value, then we drop the duplicate values. After that, we will perform EDA and visualization, and then convert categorical values into numeric values using one-hot encoding. Then we will do feature selection, and after that we will split our data into independent and dependent variables, or you can say features and target variables. After doing this, we will split our data for training and testing set, and then we will do feature scaling. Feature scaling, we have two options. One is normalization and another one is standardization. In normalization, we uh, you can say we convert our data into from range 0 to 1, or you can we can also convert our data into -1 to 1. But in standardization, our main aim is to create the mean is equal to 0 and our standard deviation is equal to 1. After that, we will train our model, and then we will check our accuracy score. After checking our accuracy score, we will try to do hyperparameter tuning, and then save our model using pickle, and then create Flask web app. So let's go to our notebook. So initially I imported all necessary libraries like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and Seaborn, and then imported my CSV file using pd.readcsv method. Then df.head for uh, seeing my data frame. Then I use df.shape to check the what's the shape of the column and row, and that is we have 215 rows and 15 columns. So I use df.columns to find what's the inside, what's the column name. So we have serial number, gender, sscp. sscp stand for secondary school percentage. sscb stand for secondary school board. hscp stand for high school percentage. hscb stand for high school board. HSC HSC stand for high school stream. Degree P stand for graduation percentage. Degree T stand for degree trade, or you can say specialization. And work X means is there work experience or not. E test is for engineering test percentage. Specialization is for in which topic it is specialized. It is of like it is of HR type or of finance type. Then it is a MBA percentage, and then status. Status is in status we have two values. It got placement or does not get placement, and at last our target variable, that is salary. So we use df.info. So we have some object values and some float values. So if you can see, we have serial number. There is no need for this column is useless for us. So I dropped this column using df.drop function. I type df.drop and then type my column name, and then give x is equal to 1 because it is a column. If it is a row, then I have to give x is equal to 0, and then use in place is equal to true so that it will affect my df column. Then I check for is there any null values or not. As you can see, we have 67 null values in our salary. So we will handle this after some time, but first I will check if there any duplicate value. Please drop the duplicate values. So I use dot drop function, like df dot drop duplicates function, and set in place is equal to true. So if there is any duplicate value, it will be removed, or you can say dropped, and the remaining data frame will saved in df data frame. Sorry, I forgot to run this command. And now if I run this command, it will smoothly run. Here you can see. Now let me check tf.shape. Here you can see my row are same. It means there is no duplicate value. Okay, so one more thing. I try to create a you can say visualization of salary. So how I can I am so my task is to fill nine values with nine value of salary column. So I try to find mean and then median, and then also I plot a you can say visualization for finding how which value will be the best. Then I check one more thing. I check df status dot value counts. Here you can see our if place is equal place count is 148, that is normal. But if you can see there is not place column, not place value, which count is 67. And if you know our empty count, you can say null count also is 67. So we can see uh, we can see if the candidate does not get placement, so its salary will be none, or you can say 0. So I fit, or you can say I fill none values with 0 in salary column. So for filling any values, I use df of salary dot fill na. Fill na is for filling my na values, and then I have to give value which is 0, and then I save this in a df salary column, and I run this command, and here you can see I solved the problem. So now I created a unique values in object data type column. For finding unique values in object data type column, I created an obj empty list, and started a for loop call in df dot columns for all df columns, and if data type, or you can say d type of column is equal to object, then I want to append this column into object list, and after that print the column name and unique values related to that, and length of unique values. Here you can say in SSCB we got two values, in HSCB we got two values, in HSCS we got three values, that is arts, commerce and science. In degree T, we got three unique values. One is science and technology, uh, com and management, or you can say communication and management, and third is others. In experience, we have no or yes. In specialization, we have marketing and HR, or marketing and finance. In status, we have two unique values, that is placed and not placed. And I use this import warning dot filter warnings to ignore warnings. If you can see, if I run this code, here I got the warning. This is There is no need to worry about this warning. It is just saying that I have to use some other command. This will be removed in uh, uh, this will be removed in future versions. So there is no, if I run this command and then run this cell, you can see my warning is ignored. So if you can see, we successfully imported our CSV file. We checked for null counts. It is also done. Checked for duplicate value. This is also done. Now comes the visualization part. We created histogram. We created pair plot for all numerical columns. If you can see here, with who is equal to gender. Here you can see who is equal to gender. uh, here you can also see for zero is for blue is for zero, and yellow, or you can say orange, is for one. Also I created box slot for SSCP for HR and finance specialization. Here you can see similarly for HSC, for degree percentage, for e-test percentage, and for MBA percentage. From all these graphs, if you can conclude, you can see uh, uh, finance team has scored maximum marks, or you can say more marks as compared to HR department. Here you can see there is a gap. Also there is a gap in degree percentage. Also there is a gap, and in finance. Oh, sorry. In e-test there is also gap, similar as MBA. Also, you can then we plot placement status distribution with gender. Here you can see uh, placement status distribution with work experience. Here you can see from this graph, a person who has prior work experience got placed as got more placement as compared to work experience with low, you can say no work experience. Then we created a pie chart for specialization. Then we created a nice distribution of, or you can say histogram for salary distribution. Then for finding correlation in numerical variables, I created a empty list, that is calls, and append numerical column name in this list. For that I used for call in df dot columns. If df call dot d type not is equal to object, then append that column in calls list. Then I run this. Then sorry, there will be numeric variables. Then here you can find correlation. Similarly, for now, my aim is to, if you can see, we're done with the visualization. Now my aim is to convert categorical values into numerical values, or you can say perform one-hot encoding. So if you can see, there is two values in these columns, and in some column there is three value. But if there is two value, we can use map function for this, and map yes, like for yes we can map it to 1, and for no we can map it to 0. Like similarly in this way I performed one hot encoding, like converted a new column, that is SSCB central, and where I map with SSCB dot map, where for central, if my value is central, then it will be 1, and if my value is other, then it will be 0. Similarly I do it for HSC B central, and then I used HSC B column for mapping this central and others. Then I converted work experience column into, then I map my values with work experience column, and then save the same. Then I save this column, or you can say save this column in as it is in same column. I do not created you can say new column, and map no with 0 and yes with 1. Here status, in status I map placed with 1 and not placed with 0. In specialization, I created a new column, that is finance. For finance, I map it with 1, and for HR, I mapped it with 0. If you can see my data frame now, I created 3 new columns and converted status and work experience. If you can see, uh, I created 3 new columns, so there is no use of SSCB, HSCB, and one specialization column. So I can drop these columns. For that, I use df.drop and give a list of columns which I want to drop, or you can say which I have no use. Then x is equal to 1 because this is the columns, and then in place is equal to true. Then I'll run that command, and then I got df.head. Here you can see I dropped that column. Then for HSCS and degree T, we perform one hot encoding. For here I use function called getDummies, using pd.getDummies df and give a list which column I have to perform one hot encoding. And here also I use drop first, because in my earlier videos, if you know, I explained you that why I'm using drop first, because if there is 3 category, it will give me just 2 columns, because if I take 3 columns, it will make curse of dimensionality. So for saving my saving from this, we are using in place drop first column is equal to true. So also if we run without this s type int, I will get my values in true or false. So for converting this into 0 and 1, we have to change type, and for this we will use dot as type as int. So here you and save this value in OHE variable. Then my aim is to concatenate it with my data frame, or you can say I created a new data frame, or I defined a new data frame df1, in which I have 2 columns. One is OHE, which is one hot encoded, and uh, columns with numerical variables, or you can say in df, if I drop this and this column, I get all numerical variables. So I did the same. Here I just drop 2 columns and append OHE in this data frame. Here you can see. Then you can say this is our final data frame. If you can see, this is done. Now comes the feature selection part. For feature selection part, we can we can find correlation between dependent and independent variables. So here I visualize the correlation, and here is the correlation. If you can see, there is very less correlation with HSCB, HSCS, HSCS signs. So we can drop these features also, but first we have to discuss it with our domain expert, and then we can do this. Without his permission we cannot do this. So here I do not drop this you can say variables. I take all variables, and then our feature selection part is also done. Now comes the splitting data into features and target variable, or you can say splitting our data into independent and dependent variable. So I defined my independent variables as x and is equal to df1 dot drop the salary column. So if from this data frame, if I dropped this salary column, I get all independent variables. So I did this thing. So df1 dot drop and enter the column name, comma x is equal to 1. So here I get the independent variable. For dependent variable, I use y is equal to df1 of salary. So I got the dependent variable. Now my aim is to, so this thing is also done. So my aim is to split data into training and test set, testing data, testing set. So for this, I use train test split. I use train test split on x, y, and give my test size as 0.2 and use random state is equal to 42. You can give any value because this number is just used for if I want to you can say run this command multiple times, I get the same you can say I get the same splits. I do not get different splits. This is for uh, its purpose is just this. So after that, if you can see, our splitting is also done. Now comes feature scaling. For feature scaling, we have two options. One is standardization and another one is normalization. I am choosing standardization. So from scikit-learn.preprocessing, I imported standard scaler and then trained my scaler on xtrain and then transformed xtrain and xtest and then I trained using multiple algorithms. So, but I get maximum accuracy from Ridge. So I take Ridge as my algorithm, or you can say model, and then in hyperparameter tuning, I got the value as alpha is equal to 1. I got best results in alpha is equal to 1. So I use alpha is equal to 1 and then try to fit this using X train scaled and Y train, and then checked my score, or you can say accuracy score, using ridge dot score X test scaled comma Y test. So if you can see, our feature scaling is also done and training the model is also done. We also checked our accuracy score. Now come the we need to save the model. We just do not need we also need to save the scalar part also, saving the model and scalar, because when we pre-process, or you can say scale our data when we are using our web app, we need this scheme scalar, or you can say this trained scalar. That's why we use for scaling my model and scalar. I used pickle library, then I imported pickle, and then with the open model.pkl wbs pickle.dump, I you can say I dumped my model comma f, and here I dumped scalar. Here you can see this is also done, and here I got, you can say model.pkl and requirement scalar.pkl. So now my main aim is to creating the Flask web app. Let me show you what's my how's my web app looks. So this is the index. We want to create this website which has different you can say features, and when we give our values, or you can say fill our values and then hit submit button, we will get this page, and campus recruitment prediction, your predicted salary is xyz inr, and we also added a home button here. So let me go back to my Flask app and also index.html. So initially in my Flask app, I imported Flask, uh, then I imported NumPy, then I imported request library, and then imported pickle. I initialized my app Flask web app using app is equal to Flask underscore underscore name underscore underscore, and I have to use also this if underscore underscore name underscore underscore is equal to underscore underscore main underscore underscore, then app dot run. We can remove this. This is used when we are deploying in other you can say other server, or you can say cloud server. We can use debug is equal to true. What's the use of debug? It will use to enable or disable debug mode. So after that, initializing my app, I imported my model, or you can say loaded my model using pickle.load, and then you can loaded my scalar, and then started my app at app.route. For home page, I defined a function called home and return what it will return. It will return the template index.html as I showed you here. It will return this. Then when we click on the submit button, this query run, we get the post method here, and if you can see from index, I take all value as like in gender. I take value if it is male, then value will be 1, and it is of you can say string type. This is not of numeric type. Similarly, in every case, like in secondary school score, we take this as a string type, not is integer type. So when we you can say load our using request library, we will define it is an integer. Like for gender, it will be integer request.form and id name is gender. Similarly for sscp and so on. But when there is a you can say high school stream, we have three options. If you can see here, we have three options. This I give you as it give it as it is, and then I perform one hot encoding. If my HS is equal to HSC is equal to commerce, then I give commerce is equal to 1, science is equal to 0. Else HSC S is equal to science, then commerce will be 0 and science is equal to 1. And for else condition, or you can say for arts, my commerce will be 0 and science will be 0. Similarly, as I earlier do for SSCP, I do it for degree P also, and in this way, I define my all variables. And then what I do, I created a list for all my values, created my list of all the variables, and I have it is mandatory to give in the same order as we train this as we give in training phase. Like if there is first column is my commerce, then I have to give first, also give here first column as commerce. Then I converted into np.array, converted into a array form, and then use dot reshape for reshaping its size, and then use you can say scalar to transform this array, and then save this in a scaled variable. And for prediction, I used model.predict method and added this scaled into as a variable, and then round this figure to up to 2 decimal points. So and if I tried multiple multiple values, but I am getting some negative prediction. So I give a condition: if my prediction is less than 0, then my prediction will be 0. it will return 0 because salary can be negative, cannot be negative. So then it will return me the template, that is prediction.html, comma, with the result is equal to prediction. Here you can see I defined a variable result because in my prediction variable, you can see in my prediction.html, I defined a variable called result, which will, you can say here, your predicted salary is, this is a result variable. So for giving this value, I use result is equal to prediction. So here we also created web app. For deploying this web app, you can refer to my live session where I deployed this on Amazon EC2 instance. You can refer to my live session day 3 or day 5. Thanks for watching.